Hi guys, we are back for another week of Milking Stool Ministries. This week we're in John chapter 14 and 15. We are officially in the point of the book where I like to think of it as sort of like the college goodbye, where our parents are sort of trying to instill their last bits of wisdom, their last bits of advice, and their last bits of just confidence in us before we leave for school. So maybe it'd be that time where graduation's over, the parties are over, and you're now sort of shopping at Target for your extra long twin sheets. And you realize that mom is giving you just a lot of really sort of heavy encouraging advice or heavy encouraging truths for you to sort of carry on into what is going to be your first take at adulthood. Jesus is doing the same thing. He's really just trying to speak into his disciples' lives. He really wants to encourage them, wants them to know that they are dear to him, wants them to know that they can do what he has sort of set in motion here, that they can continue to, roll the ball. They can continue to grow the group of disciples, the group of followers that they have sort of established with the help of Jesus and his miracles and his works. So it just is a really sort of cool time to get to participate because I think that even if Jesus was here today and he was going to be leaving, he would say the same things to us, that we are capable, that we can do this, that we aren't supposed to be perfect, we're just supposed to do our best. And I think that we are, and I think that we would and we will, and so that's what's important here. I really loved the notes this week. I did them the same as last week. Next week's going to be the same too. But I realized that I was noticing sort of this rhythm in the text that is actually really neat. So in John chapter 14, there's a lot of I am. Jesus presents himself in a very, he's revealing himself over and over and over again in different ways, in different avenues. But I think what he's really trying to say is, I am what you need. I am the all in all. And I believe that that's true for us today. It probably looks different than it did back then. So I spent half of my Bible study on John chapter 14 just writing down the things that he is. He says, we know all of that verse, I am the way, the truth, and the life. He says that, that he is the one to go ahead of us and set up our rooms in our Father's house, that he wants to put a welcome basket for us that's better than Pinterest's, that he is in the Father, that I am, it's just there over and over and over again, and that's really, really powerful. And then he follows that sort of I am with I will, and he's basically giving us the layout of his sort of action plan. He is not done acting. He's not done doing things, but I think that the disciples probably felt like he's just leaving us. Probably the same way that our parents feel when we're leaving to go to college and I will make good grades, Mom. I will make good choices. I will change my sheets. I will do my laundry. I won't mix. I will separate the colors and the whites kind of thing. So Jesus says, I will prepare a room for you in my Father's house. I will ask the Father for an advocate of you, which ends up being the Holy Spirit. I will keep you and never abandon you. Just the idea of I am leaving, but I will continue to provide these things for you. And these are necessities. These aren't like, I will make sure that you have a love of your life. I will make sure that you never have a hard time. Just the idea of that's really like rich and encouraging, at least for me, and just the idea that those I wills and even those ams still sit in our lives today, still ring true in our lives today, and that's just awesome. So my prayer for all of us this week is that we're looking for those I wills that he promises in John chapter 14 to play out, or as they're playing out in our lives today. I know that I spent the week thinking about that, and it's just a really neat, encouraging thing for yourselves. Then, this will be a little shorter, I promise. In John chapter 15, Jesus spends a lot of it saying, if you, and then I have. So they really do go hand in hand. If you suffer at the hands of the world, which usually means, you're persecuted, you're challenged, you're frustrated by it. You're experiencing what what he has done. So, he said, I have come and I've spoken about sin and I've irritated some people. Thus, if you, or you will, I guess, maybe on the converse, it's just really cool to see that hand-in-hand action. If you bear fruit in me, if you remain in me while you're bearing fruit, you're keeping the Father's commands as he has done. So just seeing sort of those parallels where he's drawing a line for us. I have done this. If you do it too, you look like me. You're bringing glory. It's encouraging. It's a little overwhelming for sure. But just realizing that there's just this completeness in it all. This idea that we are a part of this because we are completing a little piece of the puzzle. And yes, it's a ragtag. And yes, the fit's not always right. And yes, sometimes you have to push really hard to get it to fit in there. But we are integral to this kingdom. We are integral to acting out God's plan, to seeing, as he says in the verse of the week, chapter 15, verse 11, I have told you this so that my joy may be in you and that your joy may be complete. The idea that we are completing so many things. We're completing joy. We are completing the glory of God. We are completing his little mission plans. We all make goals. We all have these big overarching things. And then there's little bullet points. And I think that God gets to look at us. His bullet points are a lot more than ours, by the way. God gets to look and be like, boom, nice job, Amber. Let's mark that off. Boom, nice job, Brooke. Let's mark that off. Boom, Britt. Baby Con. Mark that off. That's cool. That's rich. So just know that there's a bullet point or 7 for your life, and you're doing them. You're completing them. You have that ability in you, and that is awesome. So I'm going to read the verse of the week one more time, and then I will have pictures in my notes below. We're going to use the same note pattern next week with John chapter 16 and 17. We're going to do 2 again, 16 and 17. And again, if you have any books that you would like to go through after this, or even maybe topical study you want to do after this, please, please, please leave it in the comments because I'm going to have to figure out our direction after this. Okay, verse of the week, John chapter 15, verse 11. I have told you this so that my joy may be in you and that your joy may be complete. I just pray for joy this week for all of us, that we feel it, that we know it, that it's complete and full and fruitful in us.